G'day guys, welcome to My Blue Heaven. Geez, I'm looking forward to Thursday night's game. I'm not a huge rap for Thursday night football for a start. Okay, I think it actually sucks. I know a lot of people are a fan of it, but personally, I'm not a huge fan. It just doesn't really grab me at all. Can certainly stuff your weekend up if your team loses, which was the case last week. But I am looking forward to this game against the Pies. Obviously, the whole traditional old rival sort of factor is in play, but it's more the point of view. But I think this is the perfect scenario for us, of where we're at, currently where we're at in our journey to where we want to go. And a lot of questions for me are possibly going to be answered from this game. So I'm genuinely excited, intrigued, interested to see how we fare against the Pies. I'm hearing a lot of we'll kick their ass, we'll beat them, we're confident. I just don't know. I really don't know who will show up. I remember last year's game against the Pies where we went in, cock a hoop, the Pies were out of form, their backs against the wall. We went in, finals aspirations, we were in particularly good form, and really we were pathetic. They taught us a football lesson. So we can ill afford to go in thinking just because we pushed Richmond last week for 3.5 quarters that we are some sort of superpower football club, because we are far from that. The reason why I'm looking forward to this game is because Collingwood, for me, are a team which is possibly plateaued or even slightly this year on the way down. They've got a lot of young players coming through, so they could spike up next year. But I think this year there's big question marks on whether they can play finals. And if we're fair income this year, Collingwood, okay, out of any probably team who played finals football last year, this is the team we have to beat if we're fair income. And if we don't, there's going to be shit hits the fan type of stuff down at Icon Park. I can guarantee you we're going to be under the pump. Not just from externally from the media or from supporters, but internally. They're going to be asking questions. It's on the table, the expectation. This is what I love. This is what I love about this year, okay, is it's on the table now that we want to play finals. Doherty mentioned it 2 weeks back or last week. Expectations are internally that we play finals football. Can we go zip and 2? Can we afford to lose against Collingwood this Thursday night? I'm going to find out so much about our football team. I'm going to find out whether we have the intestinal fortitude. I'm going to find out whether we have the smarts and the game plan to break down Collingwood's defence, which is their main strength. Are we just going to bum the ball inside forward 50 and think things are just going to happen against the defence, which last year kept us to 0 goals after half-time at the Gabba? So what have we learned from that game? What we do know that we go into this game against Collingwood with both teams probably playing a similar type brand of football in that we're absorbing a lot of ball going inside our defensive half, okay? And can our defence stack up against a Collingwood forward line which is, let's say, struggling, but at the same time, if they're allowed to be, they can be particularly dangerous. So 75 inside 50s we conceded last week against Richmond. If we do the same thing, if we enable Collingwood's midfield to get on top, okay, against us, like we allowed Richmond, then there's no doubt, just because we think Collingwood's forwards struggle, there's no doubt Cox can get involved in this game. There's no doubt Mychek can get involved in this game. There's no doubt that Jordan DeGoey can get involved in this game. He kicked poorly against the Dogs. He could hit 3 or 4. And there's no doubt guys that have traditionally worried us in the past, and I'm talking like guys like Josh Thomas, I'm talking about Will Hoskin-Elliott, I'm talking about Jamie Elliott. Okay, they can trouble us again. And I find this whole match-up between Cox and Myercheck and who will take them pretty bloody important. So I'm thinking Wiedering to Myercheck, but at the same time, it sort of worries me, Jones on Cox. So it's going to be interesting. I think Myercheck's the smarter player and probably the more harder working player with a bigger engine. So possibly that job goes to Wiedering. And I think Wiedering struggles on players with huge reaches, and Cox could give him a headache. So I think it's Wiedering to Myercheck, Jones to Cox. And what do we do with De Goey when he's inside forward 50? I think that job obviously belongs to Lockie Plowman, but he'll need to be on his guard. And then it's our smaller defenders. Who's going to take Elliott, who's good in the air? Who's going to take a Josh Thomas, who's been out of form, but no doubt he can pop up. He's the type of player who's been out of form who can actually pop up. It's going to be absolutely crucial. At the other end of the ground, it's going to be interesting. Okay, I was disappointed last week in our small forwards. I thought our efficiency going inside forward 50 was pretty good. 41 inside 50s. And we kicked the 80-odd points, which is not bad for us. But to get no goals out of Murphy, Fogarty and also Fisher is disappointing. Just doesn't cut the mustard. So for us, that's a work in progress. They need to hit the scoreboard. And the defensive pressure by us last week against the Tigers inside our forward 50, 2 tackles. We laid 2 tackles in our forward half last week. The Dogs landed 17. So their defensive pressure on the Pies last week was absolutely crucial for them to win that game. And we laid 2 inside 50 tackles, which is really poor. So not only did our small forwards not kick goals, their defensive pressure in regards to tackling was pretty poor. What we do know about Collingwood is their defence is strong and it's reliable. But what I did notice last week, a couple of things about their defence. Darcy Moore is an out-and-out champ. Okay, that is stating the bloody obvious, and this is going to hurt a lot of Carlton supporters, but I can see why. I can just see why he was voted the All-Australian centre-half back last year. He's a superstar. And as much as I think Jacob Wiedering is a fine, young, key position defender, I just don't think he's in that same class as Darcy Moore. We can ill afford just to bomb the ball in long and think that we're going to avoid this bloke because he's absolutely everywhere. He's sort of Alex Rance type with better skill. So when he gets the ball, he's actually damaging as well, whereas when Rance got it, okay, he wasn't quite as damaging. But they've both got that ability to get to the contest, leave their man and get to any contest. And sure, okay, people will say defensively Wiedering might be stronger, and that might be the case. But in terms of Moore being able to leave his man and help other defenders, is just superb. And we just need to be wary about where he's positioned, and we need to be smart. We can't be bombing the ball in. We need to lower the eyes, and we need our smalls. We need the likes of Gibbons. We need the likes of Murphy. We need the likes of Fogarty. We need the likes, okay, of Fisher to be able to find space themselves and be an option inside forward 50 in terms of uncontested marks. What I did notice about their defence last week was Noble and Quainer are obviously the distributors. Obviously Crisp when he's down there as well, but Noble and Quainer are the real runners, and they need to be watched because Quainer's a beautiful user of the football. Noble's not too shabby himself, and they're both relatively quick. But Quainer is the one who, to me, last week, he's a youngster, but he fumbled a lot. He was double taking the ball. He wasn't sure with his ball handling. Now, I think he needs to be really worked on physically. We need to get in his grill and work hard on Isaac Quainer. We can't give him time and space. We just can't. We need to suffocate him. Same with Noble. We can't give those two boys time and space. So it's going to be crucial what we're able to do inside our forward half. The midfield, I don't know. Collingwood's midfield, it looks our midfield's not great. We know that. We were smacked out of the middle 19-10 last week against Richmond, and I think really we only have... And the proof is still in the pudding with Williams. It's great to get him back into the team, but we still don't know whether he's going to be a bona fide midfielder. We still don't know that. Hopefully he is. But it's great to get him back into the mix, and I think he'll be okay. Martin, the same. What is Martin? Is it 5 minutes in the midfield, 15 minutes forward, 5 minutes? What are we going to get from Martin? Interesting. But I think it falls away after Cripps and Walsh. And the rest is like, yeah, okay. I don't think we bat deep enough, okay, to trouble the top echelon of teams. And I spoke about that in my review of the game last week. But the Collingwood midfield doesn't scare me. Does Curnow go to Pendlebury? Because Pendlebury will go to Cripps. It's going to be interesting to see how that pans out. That means Welsh gets off the chain. It's going to be... So it's Pendlebury, Adams. They didn't have great games last week. I think the Dogs had 465 disposals last week to Collingwood's 316. That's quite staggering. Elliott, Sire, Crisp, Dacos, they get side bottom back. It's going to be vital. I don't know. We need a lift from Dow. We need a lift from Setters. And we need a bit more impact from the likes of Curnow and what we're going to do with him. Obviously, the match-up between Pittonet and Grundy is going to be pivotal. Grundy's been down, but I reckon he's got some pride about him. So that, to me, is a pivotal match-up, because we're thinking 7-year contract for Grundy. It's sort of gone to his head and he's not playing good football, but he's liable to come out this week, backs against the wall and touch us up. And what we do know about that Collingwood midfielders is Pendlebury's all class. He's all class, okay, and he's a great leader, he's a great player, and he's still, I reckon, at the top of his game. Adams is as hard as a duck's beak. De Goey can turn the game on its head in the centre of the ground, as to Jamie Elliott, and they did it against us last year. So we can't think that midfield can't do some damage. So that worries me. I can only see a couple of changes. I think Teague's very conservative. It's going to be showers, 19 degrees. So it's probably not going to be a night for the big men, although they're going to be important in terms of getting that ball to the deck. But I think there'll only be 2 changes. Can't see Lockie O'Brien playing. I thought he was poor last week. And what do we do with him now? He goes back to the VFL. He's in his 4th year as a top 10 draft pick, and already after one game he's going to be dropped. Silvani out. Into the team comes William and Martin. I think Oscar McDonald survives. The interesting thing will be who is the sub. Does McDonald start? Who will be the sub then? I think possibly McDonald, maybe even the sub again. But I'd love to see maybe a Matthew Cottrell get that opportunity, or even Liam Stocker, who were good in the VFL last week. That's about it. This for me is fantastic. I've got so many questions that need to be answered about our football club and our football team. We've got our youngsters worry me. It's Walsh and it's Wiedering, and you can throw a blanket over the rest. You really can. None of them have really proven anything as far as I'm concerned. And the jury's still out on all of our youngsters. And I'm talking from 3rd, 4th year right the way through to that core of players through the 2015 draft. Are they any good? Can they step up? Are they going to take us to the next level? I just don't know. And this week is a perfect opportunity not to leave it to too few. Looking forward to this immensely. If you like these reviews, guys, or any of my videos, please subscribe. It really does help me on a weekly basis to put as many of these videos out as possible. Get along on Thursday night if you can. It's going to be great to finally get back to the G for a proper game in front of a proper crowd. That's going to be fantastic, and let's just hope that we can get on the board for season 2021. See you soon.